What up, YouTube Alayaks? Come back at you with another custom StarCraft 2 cast. And you guys, it's about time we got back into some Brood War versus StarCraft 2 matchups. This is brought to you by the SC Evo Complete mod, which puts together StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 into one game. It's a super sick mod. This series in particular is from a best-of-3 format tournament. I believe the prize pool was $350, and this best-of-3 series is a high-level series. Both of these players are in Grandmaster League, so I expect nothing but greatness from these replays. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. Spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's our blue Brood War Protoss player LucianO going up against his opponent. Spawning on the top right-hand side of the map, it's our purple StarCraft 2 Protoss player Cristiano. So this is a mirror matchup of sorts, but it's Brood War versus StarCraft 2. I'm really excited to see how this game is going to go. If you're new to my channel, I do cast a lot of custom StarCraft 2 content, so if custom StarCraft 2 is something you're interested in watching more of, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Now back to the show. Cristiano's probe, mineral walking through Luciano's Brood War probe. And also, let's just have a moment of appreciation for this Nexus. The skin on this thing is so sick. I'm loving the blue. Cristiano getting a decent scout on the main base for his opponent. Sees that there's no expansion yet, and there's obviously no cannon rush because we have what are going to be two gateways. One is already finished. The cybernetics core is coming down. Oh, that is rough. Cristiano being cheeky and denying the expansion for Luciano. Not that Luciano was necessarily planning on expanding anytime soon. He does have only 200 minerals. We'll see. We'll see if this pylon finishes. I think it might. Oh, wow. Okay, so Cristiano going full send on this pylon. I love that. And looking at the minimap, it looks like both players don't know where their opponents are spawning. I guess this is a 4-player map, so Luciano unfortunately checking the wrong side. Will he be checking? Oh no, he's going down first. So he went to the bottom left-hand side of the map. He's going to the bottom right-hand side. He's going to get a really late scout. Luckily though, there's no... Well, I was going to say there's no proxies. There is a proxy pylon, but at the same time, we also have a Stargate. I almost guarantee there's going to be an Oracle coming out of this thing. Looks like this pylon is being killed by the 2 Dragoons, and I love this. The Dragoons look so good in the StarCraft 2 engine with the StarCraft 2 graphics. So what are we seeing here, though? Because we have a gateway, we have the Stargate, and also, I should say, this is a proxy gateway. Are we seeing like a 4-gate plus plus Oracle harass? Is that what's happening? Oh no. There is a push for Luciano though on the purple side of the map. Keep in mind though, there is a shield battery that's already finished. On the mini-map, I also see what I think is a 3rd Dragoon. So Luciano doing a great job trying to bait out these stalkers away from the shield battery. Oh man. But Luciano has no idea that there's an Oracle on the way as well. I mean, he didn't really get a lot of scouting information, right? He does see that there's some stalkers and obviously what is going to be a shield battery, but he has no idea. He has no idea that there's an Oracle on the way, and Warp Gate is also just about finished. One issue with Brood War Protoss versus the StarCraft 2 Protoss is dealing with these kinds of pushes, not necessarily the Oracle alone, but dealing with a Warp Gate push is really difficult because the macro potential for the StarCraft 2 Protoss, I feel like, is just so much stronger, especially in the early game. Looks like 6 probes do go down. Will this Oracle get away? I think it will. So 6 workers killed with that little push, and now there's this Warp Gate. Oh no. Luciano, do you know what's happening? I mean, he does have what is going to be an observer flying to the other side of the map. Oh wow. Okay, I think this is an Oracle harass followed by a 4-gate. Oh man, taking a look at the production. Yeah, there's nothing being produced right now by Purple. I think he's banking up his money for a big warp-in right here at this proxy warp gate. We'll see if I'm right. This is so many stalkers, man. The shield battery, the Brood War shield battery is going down. This is so many stalkers. Taking a look at the units, 9 stalkers versus 5 Dragoons. The Dragoons are melting. We got the full worker pull trying to defend against this. Keep in mind, there is real money on the line. At the same time, there is another warp-in of stalkers at that proxy warp gate. These StarCraft 1 probes, though, actually doing a good job at melting some of these stalkers, but this is effectively a 4-gate against a Brood War Protoss. And a Brood War Protoss that did lose quite a bit of probes. I mean, 8 probes versus 0 lost. Yeah, this is rough. And oh no, this Oracle with how many kills? How many kills does it have? 14 kills? No, sorry, 10 kills. I was looking at its energy. So 10, now 11 kills on this Oracle. A lot of stalkers now as well. Luciano, though, he's not leaving the game just yet. He's like, I still have this. I can still win game number 1. Keep in mind, he still has a chance in game number 2. If he wins game number 2, then we go to game number 3. So that would also be really sick. We haven't done a best of 3 series on my channel in quite a while, I feel like. Another big worker pull. These probes are like, you know what? This isn't our job, but you're telling us to do this, so I guess we're going to do it. They're like interns that think that they're getting like good work experience, and then they get told to do something that's totally out of their range of expertise, and they're like, I guess I have to because I was told yes. I'm totally not speaking from experience, by the way. Oh, man. You know, Luciano's still in this. Let's take a look at the worker supply. Workers are 13 workers. Wait a minute. 13 workers to 25 workers. Yeah, okay. So 13 workers to 25 workers. Way in favor of Cristiano. Army supply also in favor of Cristiano. 11 army supply to 22 army supply. The super cool Nexus will likely go down. Now we have Zealots in the mix as well. Taking a look at the upgrades. We have Warp Gate, and we also have the range upgrade for these Dragoons. These gateways are now depowered. Luciano is trying to reinforce this with a pylon, but I don't think he's going to be able to do this. Taking a look at the worker supply, 1 worker to 25. There's only 1 probe left. Luciano throwing out the GG, giving game number 1 to Cristiano. That was pretty sick, watching some cheese against the Brood War Protoss. Anyway, I'll see you guys for game number 2. All right, you guys, welcome to game number 2. Cristiano did win game number 1, so if he wins round 2, that is it for our best of 3 series. Let's go ahead and reintroduce our players, though, because they are playing different races. Spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's our blue StarCraft 2 Terran player, Luciano. Luciano, I believe StarCraft 2 Terran is your main. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. If you see this video, going up against his opponent, spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's our purple Brood War Protoss player, Cristiano. So Cristiano was playing the StarCraft 2 Protoss in game number 1, now playing the Brood War Protoss. I love that. And what do we see on the minimap? It's cheese. We have more cheese for game number 2. I love this. Luciano's going for vengeance. He's like, hey, look, I was cheesed in game number 1. Let me cheese you back in game number 2. Keep in mind, there is real money on the line, so I totally understand. Cristiano is sending over a probe scout. He's shortly going to see that something fishy is going on. He's immediately going to see that there's nothing being built in the main base for the Terran player minus a supply depot. This is going to instantly tell him that there's some cheese, that there's some proxy on the map. He is a Grandmaster player after all, and he knows that surely this money is being spent. We'll see how Cristiano reacts to this. I'm curious to see how this probe is going to behave as well. Is he going to start scouting around for proxies? That is what I would do in his situation. He is building a Zealot, though, and I feel like in the early game, you don't necessarily want to build a Zealot, so this tells me that Cristiano is well aware that there are some cheesy shenanigans going on in this game. The SCD coming into the main base, getting some potential scouting in, but I don't think he really has to scout if he's going for what is going to be a proxy Reaper, and the bunker is being built. I love this, though. The Zealot may be able to deny this bunker and open up the door for the Protoss player, because right now the Protoss player is walled in. The bunker does get canceled. 1 probe does go down. We'll see if this Reaper stays alive to cause more damage. Unfortunately for Cristiano, the Zealot will not be able to chase it down. It will be able to kind of keep it at bay, but eventually, I mean, Luciano could kill that thing through kiting. The Dragoons are being built, though, and 2 Dragoons are already done. So how many workers killed? Only 2 workers killed. by that proxy Reaper, so really not that bad. We have another Reaper being built from this barracks, and we have what is going to be Cyclones coming out of the factories. This is going to be so interesting. I feel like I haven't seen Cyclones against the Brood War Protoss ever. I don't think I've seen that yet. The command center is being built, so Luciano is now kind of converting to what I think is going to be a late game play. We'll see how much damage he's able to do with these Reapers. I mean, oh man, this is way too many Dragoons. Luckily, though, for Luciano, does spot that will run away with those Reapers, and I think that was a worker that just went down. Was it? It was a scout. Maybe it was a zealot, actually. What is this? We have a proxy gateway. Cristiano's going for some counter cheese. I love this. Oh wow, this is going to be really interesting. It looks like one of the Reapers did go down. These Dragoons able to chase these things. Oh wow, that was actually I thought that Reaper was going to die instantly. It does ultimately go down, but this is looking really scary actually for Luciano. We have one Cyclone. We have the starport. Nothing's being built from this starport yet. Factory number 2 is going down. There is a reactor on factory number 1, so double pumping out these Cyclones. This might actually save Luciano. This reactor right here will allow him to keep up with the macro against what is now some counter cheese. Oh, wow. These players are really delivering a great series to us so far, but I'm kind of scared. This Dragoon army is looking really scary. Singularity charge is finishing up right now. This will give the Dragoon some additional range. And these Cyclones, there's 3 of them right now, if I'm not mistaken. 3 Cyclones versus 8 Dragoons. The Cyclones are really good at kiting, though, so they may be able to keep these Dragoons away from the main base. Base number 2, though, the natural base is coming down. The natural base is also just now finishing up for our purple Brood War Protoss player. Oh, and the medevac might actually be the saving grace for Luciano as well. We'll be able to kind of kite these things away from the Dragoons. And here we go. The engagement has started. The lock-on the Dragoon in the front of the line. It looks like Cristiano was trying to move this thing back. The worker pull once again from Luciano. Oh, wow, though. This is actually turning out to be way better for Luciano than I expected. These SCVs, they are the MVPs of the game. That is insane. They're doing so much damage. How many workers went down? Only 4 workers killed by Cristiano so far, and so many Dragoons killed as well. These SCVs are like, I got you, dog. I got you. The mass repair on the single Cyclone is disgusting. That is wild. These Dragoons doing so much work, or trying to do so much work. I mean, they did kill a lot of the Cyclones despite the fact that there's so many SCVs trying to repair these things. We have 2 more Cyclones, though, on the way, and the siege tank on the high ground as well. I would move maybe 1 more siege tank, like, right here, so I have, like, splash damage covered on every angle of my natural base. I mean, to be fair, Luciano's in kind of a bind right now. He's getting counter cheese, so yeah, it's easier to say that, you know, you should put a tank on the right-hand side of your natural base than it is to actually do it in this situation. More Cyclones being built, though. I think Luciano is feeling really comfortable with his build right now. The Cyclones are keeping him alive, and honestly, with that full worker pool, only 4 of them were killed. And I think actually only 3 of them were killed because there was 1 worker that died earlier in this game. So only 3 workers killed despite that. That's crazy. Luciano going for the counterattack, and that's actually a really brave move considering that there's an army of Dragoons knocking at your front door. Oh, and using the barracks as a scout as well. So Luciano is going for the full mech play at this point in the game. No doubt about that. 1 more siege tank coming down as well. Every second that Cristiano doesn't hit is a second that is wasted, because these siege tanks, the more siege tanks you have, I mean, one of them did just go down, but every siege tank you have is going to be a very dangerous thing to go up against. Looks like Luciano is trying to go for the base race. These SCVs, though, that now a lot of them are going down. 16 workers killed at this point in the game. And we are now officially in base race. Oh, we're in a base race situation. The Reaver is now in limbo in the robotics facility because it is depowered. And it was almost done. It was so close to done. The Cyclones using those SCVs as meat shields is hilarious. We have the Banshee as well. These Cyclones are still alive. Unfortunately, this Reaver will not finish, and this is something that would be so helpful for Cristiano if he got that finished. These two gateways are also now depowered. At this point, I would just cancel the Reaver. I would just cancel it. You get your money back. Come on. No, he does not cancel it. Cristiano. Oh, this is interesting. Going back home to try and save his base. He does have a lot of workers still, but these 3 Cyclones are doing so much damage. This is a decent amount of Dragoons, though, along with the worker pull. Fun fact, the first time I ever saw a Cyclone, I got mass cycloned, and I died instantly, and I was like, what the hell is that unit? That was the very first time I ever saw a Cyclone when it was introduced in StarCraft 2, and I went up against it. I lost, and I immediately thought it was Imba, but in reality, I just sucked because I had no idea what the Cyclone was. That was years ago. Cristiano throwing out the GG, giving game number 2 to Luciano. What a wild comeback. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys for game number 3. All right, you guys, welcome to game number 3 of 3 for our SC Evo Complete Best of 3 series. Let's go ahead and reintroduce the players because, once again, they are playing different races. Spawning on the top right-hand side of the map, it's our red Brood War Zerg player Luciano going up against his opponent. Spawning on the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's our purple StarCraft 2 Protoss player Cristiano. So, Cristiano, once again, playing the StarCraft 2 Protoss going up against a Brood War race. We'll see how Luciano does in game number 3, playing as a Brood War race going up against the StarCraft 2 Protoss. He is going for what appears to be a hatchery first, followed by the spawning pool. This tells me that he's going for a relatively macro play style, but this doesn't rule out any sort of 2-base all-in. Getting a decent scout, though, Cristiano does see that this is going to be a relatively safe build to go up against, and does, in fact, go for the Nexus after the gateway. So going for an expansion himself. And this looks to be like a macro game, ladies and gentlemen, after we saw 2 ridiculously cheesy games. We'll see how this goes, though. We'll see how this goes. These are Grandmaster players, so I'm expecting greatness, as I said at the start of this series. Now, taking a look, what else do we have? We have the macro hatchery as well. Keep in mind, if you're not familiar with the Brood War Zerg, and I expect a lot of you are, we don't have queens. I mean, there's a flying queen that's a spellcaster, but we don't have a queen that comes out of the hatchery, so you need macro hatcheries if you want to use your money wisely. If you want to be able to macro, you need the macro hatchery. There are quite a bit of Zerglings coming out, though. 8 Zerglings being built, so I think Luciano going for a little bit of pressure, but I don't think this is like a game-winning push. I don't think this is intended to win the game necessarily, just intended to put a little bit of pressure on his opponent. The Adept is being chronoed, though, so this Adept is actually going to intercept these Zerglings, and this is a lot of Zerglings, so we'll see how the control is. Cristiano sees this, immediately runs back. There's no doubt he finishes this. Yep, he finishes the Adept Shade, and there we go. This Adept actually going to buy Cristiano quite a bit of time to react to this, throwing down what is a shield battery and 1 more gateway. This Adept will be finishing up. I would put this Adept, yes, there it is. So it's rallied on the back side of this wall. So this will keep the Adept safe. Great reaction by Cristiano, keeping this wall airtight, relatively airtight. I think these, maybe not actually, with this gateway. I was going to say, I think these Zerglings could run through, but this gateway is blocking it. So these Zerglings cannot enter. Metabolic boost is done, so these are now Speedlings. What is this? Oh, Creep Colony being built in the main mineral line. So looks like Luciano going for a blind counter to Oracles, actually. And the Oracle is being built, so that is a great reaction. Actually, was that a blind counter, or did he see it with this Overlord? I don't think he saw it, actually. So the counter to the Oracle is already set. We have Spore Colonies in the mineral lines, in the natural base and the main base for our Zerg player. Great play. Honestly, going blind Spore Colony is not a bad move, because there's no reason to not build them. I mean, yeah, going for the blind counter to the Oracle is honestly kind of what you should do, especially since you don't have queens in the opening game for the Brood War Zerg. So you need something to deny this, and I wonder if Cristiano noticed that there is also a Spire coming down for the Zerg player. The Zerg player is still on 2 bases, by the way. I would have expected him to expand at least once more. We are at 5 minutes in the game, almost 4 minutes and 30 seconds. We have what is also a Phoenix coming out from this Stargate as well. Looks like Cristiano is going to be going for a little bit of Overlord hunting. I love that. Overlord hunting is one of my favorite pastimes in StarCraft 2. I know, I'm a dirty Protoss player, and I'm not sorry about it. Honestly, I'm not sorry about it. Watching those Overlords pop, I mean, they're kind of cute, right? They're like a space cow. They're pacifists in this game, but it's so satisfying taking them out. Oh, here we go. One Overlord in the main base for the Protoss player. Is Cristiano going to react to this, or is he going to let this Overlord walk around? Here we go. A few Stalkers will likely be able to take out this Overlord. And man, what do we have on the production tab as well? We have what are going to be 8. What are these? Wait a minute. Are these Scourges? No. These are... Yeah, these are Mutalisks. I didn't recognize the StarCraft 1 portrait. These are, in fact, Mutas. For a second, I thought they were Scourges, but no, they are Mutas. So we have 8 Mutas coming out, and I think immediately flying to the opposing side of the map. And, oh, man, the Brood War Mutalisk, I think, is such a cool-looking Mutalisk, man. I think it looks way cooler than the StarCraft 2 Mutalisk, and this is way too many Mutas for the Phoenixes to handle, but 2 of them actually go down. I was gonna say, they are fast, they will likely be able to get away, but no! This Phoenix with 0 kills and 6 HP will likely go down. Will Cristiano get the cancel on base number 3 is the question. I think I would cancel it at this point. Come on, there's Zerglings, there's Mutas, but Cristiano does not want to let this Nexus go. We're going to get a cancel on it. There's no way this thing doesn't get canceled. Actually, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Does Cristiano get the save on this Nexus? That would be so clutch. Actually gets the save on base number 3. Meanwhile, Luciano is expanding himself. The hatchery just now finishing up. Not quite saturated yet, but I suspect it will be saturated soon. Keep in mind, though, this Nexus is now softened up. I would throw down a shield battery. Man, or maybe cancel this. I don't know, man. This is just so many Mutas. And the Protoss army is getting softened up. There is going to be another warp in here soon. I mean, we already have 1 Stalker that warped in, and it looks like Cristiano feeling safe enough to let this Nexus finish. These are better players than I am, obviously. I mean, they are in Grandmaster, so their game sense is way more tuned up than mine is. That is for sure. Great map control either way, though, from Luciano, flying these Mutas around constantly. Once you have Mutas, you want to make sure that these things are moving around constantly, because there's no reason to have Mutas kind of just sitting around. The longer you wait, the more time your opponent has to counterattack, or to not counterattack necessarily, but to counter the unit composition that you have. Ground weapons level 1 for the Protoss player is finishing up as well. Taking a look at the upgrades, we have 1 flying upgrades and 1 ground upgrades. That is actually interesting. We have 1 sky upgrades for the Zerg player. A few Scourges as well. Look at them. They're so adorable. Oh, here we go. Do these Scourges... Oh, wow. Okay, I like that. So the Phoenixes are actually able to outpace the Scourges. So you would have to kind of catch these Phoenixes off guard to be able to take them out. We do have the Hydras as well, but the Phoenixes would be able to lift these things off. But once the Phoenix lifts it off, it's vulnerable to the Scourge. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes for our purple Protoss player. Let's go back to the production tab. We now have what are going to be, okay, robotics facility units coming down. We have an Immortal as well. We have Zealot Charge, and we have the Templar Archives being built on top of this. So I think our Protoss player is transitioning to a ground army, which I'm not mad about. I would still pump out Phoenixes, though, just because there are Mutas on the field. Actually, let's take a look at the units tab. We actually only have 1 Mutalisk left, so never mind. Not too bad. Not too bad for the Protoss player. Nothing to worry about too much. This Muta is now a scouting Muta, and maybe actually getting the kill on a probe. Nice. That was a decent pickup for a single Muta. Cristiano, I think, wants to scout around. We have these Scourges, though, that are on the hunt for Phoenixes. And the army, the red army, coming down to the purple side of the map. We have lurkers, we have hydralisks, we have a couple scourges right here, or 4 of them, I should say, and some zerglings. This is looking like a really scary army for the red Zerg player. Cristiano, does he have any detection? I don't think he does. Does he have an Oracle? No, he doesn't. Let's take a look at the production tab. There's no observer being built as well. Oh man, you have to, okay, here we go. The observer is now being built. It's almost finished, but this is a little bit too late, I think. The front door for the natural base location is going to be very softened up. These lurkers, though, are not being used. Come on, Luciano. There we go, picking up these lurkers. You have to take advantage of this while there are no observers on the field. And just as I said it, the observer does finish. The hero observer and the storms on top of the lurkers. What a great hold by Cristiano, forcing the retreat on the red Zerg player. One Hydra gets sniped, another Hydra likely getting sniped, and this is looking like a really scary army now. There's a real good mix of DPS and tankiness here. We have the Archons, which do extra damage to Bio. We have the Immortals as well. Not necessarily great against Hydras, but Immortals are just decent units in general. And we have more lurkers on the way. So we have what is going to be a lurker Hydra build coming out from our red Zerg player. Taking a look at the production tab, we have +1 armor, ground armor upgrades as well for the Zerg player. +3 attack is being researched for our blue, for our purple Protoss player. These Zerglings running around. What I would do in this situation is maybe build a few more mutas and just try to do some sort of damage. There's no Phoenixes on the field, and going for a quick tech switch might be an interesting move. Taking a look at the worker supply, relatively even, 73 workers to 77, a slight lead for Luciano. Taking a look at the workers killed as well, 7 workers killed by purple and 4 workers killed by red. Really not that crazy. What is this? We have a Scourge kind of chilling, being used as a scout, and actually 7 probes, now 8 probes going down to the Zergling run by. That is actually a huge pickup for our red Zerg player, Luciano. Meanwhile, though, Cristiano is going for an attack of his own on base number 4, and base number 4 is really... it's vulnerable right now. We have the creep colonies, which are being warped, but they will definitely go down before they finish. Actually, no, this one does go down, but it has to turn into a sunken colony if it wants to do any sort of defensive damage. A bit of a preemptive storm on the ramp right there, and now I think, are we entering a base race? What is happening? Or are we going to see an attempted flank on the purple army is the question. Base number 4 does go down, 22 drones going down in that engagement. This is now 30 workers killed to 13, way in favor of Cristiano, and Luciano going for a counterattack of his own. He's going to be attacking base number 4. He already knows this is here. Keep in mind, there was a Zergling run by. There is a shield battery, though, and 2 cannons, so this is going to be a little bit hard to break, especially with the reinforcing Protoss army, and I think Cristiano is feeling very good picking up base number 4, now wanting to defend his own economy and effectively put himself ahead in this game. But I think base number 4 will go down. 4 probes do die to this. Oh, but the flank on these lurkers, the lurkers going down. Cristiano doesn't care. He's like, hey, look, most players would die walking over lurkers. Not me, though. Not me, pal. I can just destroy the entire Zerg army and keep most of my Protoss army alive. This is so many Archons. I love this. The Archon is one of my favorite units in StarCraft 2. No doubt about that. The Dark Archon is probably my ultimate favorite unit just because it's a scary Archon. And it also mind controls, and I think mind control opens the door for so much shenanigans, like mind controlling a worker and stealing your opponent's race is hilarious. A run-by of Zerglings, checking to see if there's any sort of run-bys that they can do on the Protoss economy. Here we go, though. Base number 3 is in jeopardy. We have some creep colonies transforming into sunken colonies. Will they finish? I don't think they will. The cancel on that one, actually, not bad. Luciano, 9 drones going down, though. This is looking pretty rough for Luciano. Cristiano just has such a strong army, so much tankiness. The Archons have so much HP with those shields. Like, what is it, 350, I think? Yep, 350 total. Well, actually 360 total HP technically, but they have 10 real HP. So they basically pop as soon as those shields go down. Oh, man, this is a really scary army. What was that? It sounded like spider mines. I don't know what that was actually. Oh, I think it was the Defiler. Oh man, great use of the Dark Swarm though. I believe it's called the Dark Swarm from the Defiler. Will prevent projectile damage on this Zerg army. Base number, I think 3 technically, will also go down as well. 20 workers killed. Oh, in this recent engagement, 67 workers killed total by Cristiano. That is insane. Taking a look at the worker supply, 79 workers for Cristiano to 30 for Luciano, our red Zerg player. So, a worker supply lead for our purple Protoss player. And man, this StarCraft music, this soundtrack is goated. I love the soundtrack for StarCraft, man. I think it's probably the best soundtrack of all time. But that's obviously subjective. Man, these Defilers staying in the cloud will be relatively safe from a lot of the DPS from the Protoss player, but I mean, this is still a really scary army. And now the natural base is looking like it is in jeopardy. Cristiano, what are your upgrades at, man? 3 attack upgrades, 1 armor upgrades, and then 1 sky upgrade, which I think is funny. Luciano throwing out the GG, well played, giving the best of 3 series to Cristiano. What a sick tournament series. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my email and Discord in the description below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.